Did it. Welcome everyone. We haven't done one of these in a little while, so it's really exciting to be here with you all today. Those of you who are here with us in the Zoom room. And then we're also live streaming into many of our platforms. So maybe you're watching over there. If so, hashtag and say hello, or if you're watching it later, hashtag replay. And I always love to come back and see who's commenting and engaging and playing with us. And people right now are telling us where they're tuning in from around the globe. So as always, we have such an incredible range of people. Looks like Walla Walla, Washington. I love it. South Carolina, Rhode Island, south of France. Beautiful. We've got Louisville, Sydney, South Africa. Oh, South African in Calgary, Canada. Beautiful. Los Angeles, Ontario, Canada. I love it. It's so amazing. I'm so blessed to have such a beautiful community of souls coming together from all over who are here to focus on their visibility and getting their powerful messages, movements, services out to the world in a bigger way. And you are here today because you saw that I was hosting a live visibility masterclass. And I'm excited to dive in today. We're going to cover how this stuff works, how you can get it. The best news is there is another way to get visible. I know everyone that I speak to, at least, comes to me saying that they're a little exhausted with social media, the endless posting. They're, freaking out over the Facebook ads and the budgets that it takes to actually make those work. And I'm here to say today that if that's you or you have any of those thoughts or challenges, good news ahead. There is another way to get visible, to get out there, to reach the people you are trying to reach in the world. So we are going to jump right into screen share. And I actually want to start by sharing a couple wins from our community before we get into the actual slides here. And also just probably a quick note, Marie, if you can drop the Shine Insiders Facebook group link. So anyone who is not in there yet, feel free to join in there. You can watch this on replay in there. We'll keep it up for a limited time. And also we have lots of great things happening in there. So stay in touch. Keep us posted on what's going on with your visibility. We have lots of opportunities for you to promote yourselves in that group. So head on over and check out all the goodness. And okay, here we go. We're going to go into screen share. Okay, so a lot of what you saw today, if you're here, you might have seen my post or my email asking if you want to be an Entrepreneur magazine. And the reason I did that is because one of my recent clients, Leslie, just landed herself this huge feature in Entrepreneur magazine. So this is what's possible. This is something I've been doing for 27 years, helping people get into the mainstream spotlight and, working in PR and marketing, and really now bringing this information to small business owners around the globe. I identified a gap in the marketplace that really was needed for people in, small business, whether you're a solopreneur, an entrepreneur, but being able to get this kind of attention that normally you would have to pay a very, high ticket PR firm to get these kind of results. And so that's my kind of gift and magic in the world, is bringing this information to a wider audience, how to be able to do it for yourself. And another big celebration in our community right now that I want to acknowledge is Melissa, another client who just went viral with one of her videos, 1.5 million and counting, getting a message and a story out in the world that she is very passionate about right now. So you can always go over and check her out on TikTok. So, whether you like to be featured in the media, whether you like social media, maybe you love TikTok, maybe you hate it, it doesn't really matter. There is a way to customize your visibility journey to be something that you are lit up about and feel good about and proud of. So let's see, I'm going to also, let me stop the share for a second and get into the right page. So Let's see. Let me just also take a gauge in the room here. Who here would love to see themselves in Entrepreneur Magazine? Write an E, put an E in the chat. Or if you'd love to go viral, write viral. If one of your videos, something that you've got something important to say about, if you could see that going viral, would that be exciting for you? Yeah, go ahead and share your dream wins in the chat. I see both. I see a lot of E's. I see a V, viral. Yes, beautiful. Okay, so we are going to hop into the presentation for today momentarily. Okay, here we go. Thank you all for your patience. The master multitasker today. Okay, here we go. Okay, can you see the title slide here? How to become a global phenomenon and get billions of media impressions. Maybe just drop a yes in the chat if everything looks good to everyone here. Good. Okay, sometimes things get cut off, so I always like to ask. Beautiful. Okay, so this is part of my live masterclass series that I do. And so if you're here today, you probably really resonate with this idea of free publicity and are more curious on how to actually get it. And the reason I know a lot about this is because I come from the background of, as I mentioned, over 2 decades, almost coming up on 3, of doing this work. Background being in entertainment and film publicity. And my first big movie project when I moved to Hollywood from Boston was the Blair Witch Project, which is to this day one of the most profitable independent films ever made. And really a lot of its success, it was really about the stars aligning, but a lot of its success came down to the power of their PR and marketing strategy. We talk about their positioning, right? How they put themselves out into the world as this found footage. And it really just, caught like wildfire and became a global phenomenon. So we're going to cover today, like, what does it take to like make that impact and create that magnetic marketing? And you're here because you are most likely a transformational expert. I will say my community is largely soul-led, spiritually inspired, consultants, coaches, creatives, service providers, spiritual practitioners, people who want to make that bigger impact in the world, make the world a better place. And you're also looking to be a sought after expert. You want to get your story out there, your services on the world stage, in the media, in a bigger way to make that impact. And you also want to reach more people organically. That's a key word. We're going to cover some of that today, to generate that more authentic connection, community, and currency, right? Being actually compensated for your gifts. So we talk about visibility with a purpose. So this is really what it's coming down to. And so already, some of you who are here today, you might just see right from this first slide here, you've got a big gap in your business, right? In terms of your business growth, your business success. So first and foremost, what I share with my clients and my community is that we need you to have a sustainable business model plus an irresistible 6-figure signature offer that gets you to that monthly money goal, right? It's really hard to put your magic into the world if you're worried about paying bills. So that's the first thing, is making sure that if we're going to get you the visibility, that there's an ecosystem, that there's a way that people come in, can be served by you while you are being compensated for the gifts, right? And this is really where you get that visibility. You have your PR plan to be discoverable by other people that are outside your current network, your current inner circle, who are actually seeking you right now. They're seeking the solution you bring to the world. Now, I have a give for you at the end, but I'm just going to put this out there right now and tease it a little bit because I know sometimes people, they have to drop off at the end. They got to pick up the kids at school, whatever it is. So if you're here, I want to make sure you get this information. Again, this will all be on the replay if you do miss any of it and want to come back to it. But I do have a couple things for you, some news and a give at the end. I'm going to tease it right now that one of those things is a 20-minute visibility audit. This is something new that I'm doing where we reserve about 5 spots a week for my community, where it's a give on getting my eyeballs on your visibility, your goals, where you'd like to be, and giving you some actionable steps on what needs to happen for your personalized, customized visibility journey. We'll go a little deeper into that later, but if any of you who are here now already know this is something you would like, again, not a sales call, this is a give. I believe in leading with generosity. We want to go ahead and have you write audit for the visibility audit in the chat, and then we'll reach out to you about getting that set up. So again, type audit if that is something that is appealing to you. Really not meant for my current clients. If any of you, I think I see a couple of you here today, this is really meant for new people that I haven't connected with before that are coming into the community. Okay. So we have, the idea of publicity and free publicity. And what exactly is that? It's kind of got this mystique around it. A lot of people wonder, like, what is it? And it's really how you get the attention of the people you're trying and wanting to reach. And the question for you all to think about is, how do you want to be seen, right? How do you want to be received and perceived in the world? So this is about you leading the conversation on who you are, what you're doing in the world, who you're serving, right? Really, it's all about building your legacy, right? How do you want to be remembered, right? When you leave this planet, what is the legacy you are creating? And why is publicity so powerful? Right? It's really simple. This is other people saying how great you are, right? We know where our strengths are. We know where we shine and how we serve and help people, but it means so much more if someone else is saying it. And sometimes just those little messaging and marketing tweaks can shift everything. I will tell you, I'm sometimes my own worst publicist. I can be the cobbler without shoes, like a lot of us who we have our skills, but then we need others to kind of look at our stuff sometimes to help and guide us. But even just some little tweaks, a lot of times if something's not working, it's in the messaging and the marketing, and one little tweak can change everything. So we recently started really using this quote that when I interviewed with David Meltzer, who's a top 100 business coach, I was on his show Office Hours. When he introduced me, he called me one of the best PR people in the world. Now I'm using that all over. You're going to start seeing that on my website and all these different places. And, it's an honor. It's humbling, but it's not me saying I'm one of the best PR people. It's someone else who is highly respected singing my praises. And that is priceless. Right? Think about someone who you would love to have shouting from the mountaintops how wonderful you and your work are in the world. Someone who's been really fantastic at understanding how to use and optimize the tool of publicity is Sir Richard Branson. And his name, as you will see, is synonymous with Virgin. So his name, his face, his brand, it's very holistic. Like you think of Virgin, you think of him. You think of him, you think of Virgin, right? So he has always understood from his, student publisher days, he has always understood the power of good PR. And then we have some of my clients and success stories that I am so proud to share with you of people who learned how to do this for themselves. So the key thing is here, you guys, I know, because everyone always thinks, oh, wait, if I'm going to learn how to do this, that sounds like a lot of work. It doesn't have to be, right, when you delegate. So remember, we'll talk a little bit more about this in a little bit. We're going to touch on the powerful tools of AI today that, this is not about you doing all the things. But when you learn the steps, when you're guided and know exactly the PR plan, it becomes much easier to become focused in your business, to get the results, And we do all of that from an aligned place. My background is also in the healing arts. I'm an energy healer. I'm a spiritual practitioner. So this is the foundation. And then we implement strategy from there. And when the stars are ready and aligned, it's just incredible. Things go through the stratosphere. Rebecca, we helped her get her first traditional book publishing deal. She had so many, actionable items that she just put into place. And, one hit after another kept coming from her, getting paid to be a podcast host, an additional 4K revenue a month just for doing one show a week. Can you imagine? Like, who here would be happy to have an extra 4K a month just from 4 hours of your time a month, right? 4 interviews a month. Getting your book out there, right? Getting featured on TV, becoming a repeating guest on a local TV news station. These things are all possible for you. And if you're wondering who this stuff works for, it's really anyone who has a message or a movement or a service, a talent that you're looking to get out into the world. In particular, I really support soul-led, established women in business. So if you have something that you want to get out there in a bigger way, this is really a good place for you. Now, your visibility archetype is something we start with when most people come into my ecosystem. If you haven't taken it yet, it's a great tool. This is a short 5-question quiz just to know like what yours is. And you can find that at shinesuperpower.com. You don't have to do it right this second, but maybe after this call, you'll want to take that and see what are your visibility strengths and weaknesses. And that's what would play into how we develop your PR plan. Now we have 3 types of clients that we work with. So when it comes to your visibility, you're either a beginner or a newbie, you've done some, maybe a little bit along the way, or you've done a lot and you really understand this stuff and how it works. So no matter, what level you're at, that the key is that we're going to help you land your first or next media win. There's always a next win. Okay. So again, my message to you today is that everyone is doing social media and or even Facebook ads, thinking those are the only ways to get in front of your ideal audience. And I am here today to debunk that and say that is not true. There is another way. You don't even have to do social media. If you don't like TikTok, you don't have to do that and go viral on TikTok. There are other avenues for organic growth and leads to get you to where you want to be with your visibility and your audience growth. So what is the key to this? It's going to be your PR strategy and planning, which most people don't consider when they're a small business owner because they think it's for later, or it's because PR budgets are typically astronomical if you're going to hire an agency or a rep. I know because I have a PR agency. So, this is where I've identified this gap in the marketplace on how to help small business owners in a way that's amenable and doable for them. So let's look at your business success path. Now, this is something I've identified after a couple decades more of doing this work is, when it comes to my signature gifts and skills and knowledge, this is how it unfolds. So you have your purpose, your niche, right? What your strength is, the thing that you're putting out there in the world. Next, you have your marketable offerings. We talk about your irresistible offering, maybe your one big signature offering, and potentially having a suite of offerings, but you've got to know what that ecosystem is. And you've got to have a sustainable model that when you get the visibility actually gets you to your monthly money goal. Now, this is where I come in, is helping my clients get aligned visibility with a custom PR strategy. Now, the next level from there, and really everyone's trying to get to number 4. You want to be seen as that expert with a full slate of clients or gigs or whatever it is. If you're an executive director of a nonprofit, you're trying to get more donors. If you're an actor or creative, you're looking to get more gigs. If you're a business owner, a service provider, you want more clients. Whatever it is you're trying to get more of, maybe you're seeking investors. That's going to happen after number 3. Now, what you can see here is that most people aren't doing number 3. They're trying to skip from number 2, 1, 2, and then to 4. So if you are currently knocking your head against the wall, it could very much be because you are missing this critical step in your business success path. And now the cool thing is that when you do number 3, it actually takes you to number 4 a lot faster, a lot easier. And what's even more, the bigger bonus is that it actually gets you to number 5, which most people aren't even thinking that big for themselves when they're just trying to get their clients and their slate full. It's going beyond. It's becoming that go-to industry leader with global presence and impact. So it takes number 3 to get to number 5. This is where my clients are going and heading and have gone, is getting to that level where not only does their inner circle recognize and know who they are, but it's actually a much broader audience, if not a global audience, that is recognizing that expertise and the magic that you're bringing to the world. Now, this is, my background, which some of you, have heard my story and know, is that I am from Massachusetts originally. I came out to be a movie publicist when I was young in my career, after having launched America Online as a consumer brand at a high-tech PR agency, and also working at the Ritz-Carlton Boston. And when I hopped a plane, I wanted to come out, be a movie publicist, and I ended up doing that. I worked in Hollywood for a couple years. Ended up starting my own business, my own agency after a couple years. And for, the past couple decades, I've had my own PR agency and having repped all different types of people across all different projects and industries. So everything from Grammy and Oscar winners to major events and gala awards, Rock and Roll Hall of Famers. That's the late Mama Sarah Obama up top right there, who was Barack Obama's grandmother. I did a whole media tour with her at the United Nations when she came over from Kenya. And of course, you might recognize down here, Branson, Diddy, Jane Seymour. So this is the late Bob Saget, and that's Dr. Drew Pinsky. And this is actually one of my first projects was working with the Oscar-winning screenwriter of Gladiator, when I first also got to Hollywood. So Dee Dee Bridgewater, Grammy Award winning performer, just lots of incredible elbow rubbing over many years in my career. So, this is me speaking from a place of seeing what it takes and knowing what it is to work at that level and have that level of recognition. Now, that all being said, I was very much behind the scenes. I did not want to be in the spotlight. For 2 decades, I pushed my clients in front of the camera. I have a few pictures of those years, not a lot, because I really did not want to be in front of the camera. I was like, it's about my clients. It's not about me. So that shifted when my grandmother passed away. So it was a few years back, 2015, very end of the year. One of my best friends, she passed away. It was heartbreaking. I'm so honored I was able to be by her side at that moment, but it really shattered me. And I was really questioning what I was doing with my life, because I was serving a lot of millionaires, billionaires, famous people. And I just felt like I wanted to have a bigger impact in the world. So I went on a soul searching trip to Bali. And it was through that experience that I had my aha moment, where I really realized, you know what, I can do this. I don't have to reinvent the wheel. I don't have to start over. I can take what I know and bring that online and to a global audience. And so that's what I've been doing. And now here we are today. When I started my online business, I guess it was about 2017, I was not even going to have a photo on my website, much less do live video. And here we are. So really being able to impact people around the globe. As you saw today here, we have an incredible group of people that are, tuning in from all over the world. And this is what my purpose and passion is to support people like you get your messages and movements out to the world in a bigger way. And really what happened is that I kind of had to go all in. I was like back against the wall at the onset of the pandemic where my whole PR business got wiped out from under me. I'd been dabbling in my online business, but I was still holding back. I still wasn't putting myself out there like as much as I could be. And it was like at that point, I was scared. I didn't know what was going to happen in the world, much less my business. And that's when I chose to be inspired by my grandparents. 3 of the 4 enlisted in World War II, and they enlisted, right? They weren't drafted. And that's what I felt like about my purpose. I felt like this is my chance to enlist and be of service in the world and help people in a really challenging time. And that's when I started hosting my free live events. That's when I launched my first high-end mastermind. And at that point, I, even hired a coach so I could learn how to do all these things even better. And I did an initial investment that I was able to 40x within 18 months, just because I leaned in, I went all in, and people saw what I was doing. I got invited to the Forbes Business Council, and there's an article I wrote about this time in my life in Forbes. And it really just takes having that passion and commitment to your purpose and going all in, just like my grandfather did, right? When he got on that plane, he was a B-17 pilot every time. Like that commitment to your purpose is what it takes when you're an entrepreneur. So going all in. And over the years, I have become more comfortable stepping in front of the camera. This is not too long ago. I do PR for the Beverly Hills Film Festival, and I actually made sure I got a lot of photos of me doing my work and being out there in front of cameras. And so now as an introvert, like I can say, it takes practice and consistency, and it does get easier over time. So if you're one of those people that has some of those qualms, just know you're not alone, and it's totally human to have those feelings. So what I will say right now, for those of you who are here, what's probably missing in your business is a strategic PR plan that communicates your message and you as the brand. I'm all about helping people create soul-aligned, holistic, personal brands. And that's about putting yourself out there year-round, right? It's not saving it for later. This is about yesterday, like getting yourself out there in that way now. So you can get results when you use these types of plans. You don't have to be on TikTok, right? You could be. You don't have to be. You don't have to do the expensive Facebook ads or PR firms or online marketing campaigns. And you can stop all that endless random posting on social, which is kind of like throwing spaghetti at a wall, hoping some of it's going to stick. Now, there's only 3 ways you're going to get in front of new sets of eyes. That's through organic traffic, affiliates, or paid traffic. Now, everything I teach is around the free organic traffic connections and leads. I do consult on affiliate and paid as well. And sometimes those are really key pieces of your business model. But again, it depends on you and your specific journey. But we start with the organic, right? That's what people call the free publicity. And that does take, your time and investment and, having usually some help from your team. But again, it's about delegation, even if it's an intern. Like this stuff, trust me, it's totally doable. So I want your new mantra to be more results with less effort, right? As you establish your presence out there in the world in a bigger way and amplify your authority. This is, you're going to start to see as we move through this presentation here, like more and more of what can happen. Now, we did say today we wanted to talk about how to use AI ethically and effectively in PR. Now, again, we just talked about delegation. So now we have all these tools that are available to us where we can actually streamline our time, our team's time, whether you have a virtual assistant, whoever it is that's helping you. So I'm going to talk about ChatGPT today, which pretty much everyone, if you don't know about it, you might have been living under a rock, but I think everyone here probably knows about what's going on in the world of AI and ChatGPT, even if you're not fully using it yet. And I am not by any means claiming to be an expert in any of these areas. However, I can tell you how I've started incorporating and using some of these tools into my own business. And today, really just two pieces that I want to cover with you are one is how to organize your data and clarify your client avatar, right? So the way that I believe in using AI tools like ChatGPT ethically is to be more about having it as your assistant and organizing your data that you already have. And that's one thing to remember as well, the whole privacy issue of, yes, most of these tools are free, but what you are giving up, in any sense that we know, whether it's Facebook or Google, you're giving up a lot of your privacy when you use these free platforms. Same with the AI tools like ChatGPT. Like if that's, or if you have, Fathom or Note Takers or any of those things that are essentially becoming an assistant, they're listening in on your meetings and they're gathering notes, and those can be incredible tools. But just remember that all of that data is going into the AI brain, and you don't have control over who's going to have access to that or where it's going to go. So I use AI tools very strategically and carefully in my business. We no longer use them for internal meetings, because if we're talking about internal things that are, private, maybe it's financial projections or revenue questions or things that are coming up, like we don't want that going out for the rest of the world just to be able to access that info. And again, it's kind of the Wild West in this area. So, we're all figuring it out as we go. So this is one way that you can really help with some of your messaging and positioning, is by taking the information you have from your clients. Hopefully you're gathering those testimonials, you're doing client surveys, and then, adding this information into ChatGPT and asking it to organize it for you. And whether it's coming up with some statements, right, around what are the top 3 challenges that my clients struggle with, right? It's going to go through all of that data and boom, it's going to help you really identify that. So this is just one way that we've been able to start using that kind of a tool. And another thing that I want to give you, which is something that we've talked about in my Shine Online Mastermind, is because one of the things in PR is learning out how to, write and put out your press release. So when it comes to writing it, again, I know there's a lot of controversy around this, especially if you've been aware of what's been going on in the entertainment industry with all the striking and everything. Is, I'm not using it. I'm not trying to replace people or writers or anything like that, or even my own writing. But what I am doing is using it to organize. So I have a press release template that I use, that I teach with. So I will feed that to ChatGPT, and then I will put in my own writing of the who, what, when, where, and why of what we're doing, what we're trying to announce. And then I will ask or command or prompt ChatGPT to draft the release based on my template and put that information into that format. So that has been a really incredible way. It's helped my clients be able to, have a faster turnaround on some of these kinds of tasks in their business. At the same time, I just want to put a stake in the sand for all of you to know that you cannot just do that and leave it. You must go back through with a fine-tooth comb and humanize what it has done, because sometimes it sounds a little funky, or some of the words are off, or you'll find some things are just not quite right. So always make sure that you edit, you go back, and you streamline. So is anyone, just had to get a temperature gauge here in the room, go ahead and put a Y in the chat. If for anyone who is using tools like this already in their business, I would just be curious to see and know, or put it in if you're in the Facebook group or on YouTube, wherever you're watching us. Yeah, it looks like a few of you are definitely engaging in that already. I love it. Yeah, it's, I'm a little bit like, I'm usually on the front curve of adapting to new changes. But I resisted a little bit. I like to do my research first. I like to, really, if you want to study more on this stuff, just go to YouTube. There's a million videos on how to use these tools in your business, and kind of people that are keeping their finger on the pulse of what is happening overall in the marketplace and in the industry and in the world. And it's good to keep up on what's actually happening. So awesome. Okay, great. Great to see a lot of us, and I think a lot of it really also just from a mindset perspective, just to touch on that, it comes down to your attitude towards it, right? Your feelings, your mindset around it, right? Like it could be a scary thing. Yes, we have to be concerned about AI and what it's capable of, but at the same time, it's a beautiful gift to us to help us and support us as well. So as long as you're using it ethically, right, and effectively, it's going to actually help you in your business, in your life. Fantastic. Okay, so something that I want to make sure all of you here today know is that no matter what your work is, there are absolutely press out there seeking you right now. So getting into the mainstream media as an expert, that is really what you can start to leverage and take your business to a whole new level. And what happens when you get this free publicity, and I'm starting with the press because that's what most people think of when they think of PR, is the media. It's just one piece, like social media is a piece of PR, part of the pie. But you do grow your authority, awareness, and your audience, right? It's about getting outside of the people who already know you and getting known by more people. And that's what starts to get you seen and sought after as that go-to expert, right? And when people know what you're doing in the world, they actually can come to you pre-sold. So here are some just examples, right? Getting in, whether it's your favorite magazines, daily newspapers, interviewed on TV, radio, right? Like these are the places where that credibility just shoots through the roof. We have Leslie, who you saw earlier, who got the entrepreneur article, right? She stepped in to work with me and within a week had put out a global announcement to raise awareness for her TEDx talk and also her programs that she was launching at the time. So she really was able to step in and harness the tools that I teach people to use and make that global impact. So what we really need to do first and foremost is to know like where you're headed, like what your vision is. So for those of you who are here in the room today, or if you're watching elsewhere, feel free to comment and I'll check that out later. I want to hear what your visibility vision is. So what would a dream visibility win be? So that is going to be something involved with your writing, speaking, or the media. Of course, within those, there's a myriad of ways to go. So maybe it's speaking on a certain stage in real life or virtually. Is it being in a favorite media outlet, in your favorite podcast? Where would you actually see yourself appearing? Maybe it's publishing your best-selling book, right? Like go ahead and list at least one place where you would love to see yourself appearing and having people buzz about you. And then you need to also know, like, what's the buzz, right? How do you want to be known? What do you want to hear people saying about you? Yeah, I see lots coming in here through Forbes, TEDx, being interviewed or presenting on TV. Beautiful. Any show in particular, Catherine? Radio shows, blogs, podcasts. Yes, beautiful. So, and what's even better is if you can get more specific with starting to identify as you're going through your day and you're watching the things you love or seeing things out there, in the media or on social that are like, oh, that resonates with me. I could see myself appearing in that place. Start to write those places down. And Carol says appearing on The Reality Revolution by Brian Scott. Yes, I love the specificity. Really holding that vision. A lot of people say things like Oprah's Super Soul Sunday, right? Those Today Show, Nancy, late night talk shows, beautiful. So the next big piece of this is feeling into that visibility vision. You really want to think about, and you can feel free to share this in the chat. And I see a lot are still coming in here. Beautiful. What is happening for you in your world once you have the result? And you can include your money goal too, right? So as you are having this success, stepping into the visibility vision where all the things are amplifying your income, your influence, right? All of the things, your impact, And what is that money? Like, how is the money shifting? So start thinking about what this world and, that you have with that result, like what it looks like once you're there. Like, what are the positive things happening for you? And I promise they will be positive. We're going to get to the other side of that in a second, but think of the positive things that are happening. I see some more coming through here. Today's show, maybe. Yep. Gabby Bernstein podcast, another TED or TEDx talk. Beautiful. So the secret is really right here in this slide to everything. And it's really where I start with all of the people in my community is you've got to be able to feel the frequency, the energy, the vibration of your visibility vision as if it has already happened. And what we do is we anchor that into your system so that then when you're implementing strategy, you're actually implementing it from that frequency of knowing it's possible. So that is a really important piece of the things that we do. And I see some things coming through here, doing more women talks with sponsors and more vendors, traveling the world. Again, beautiful. Yeah. So that's, as you are feeling into that visibility vision and those results, that's what you want to really be holding in your heart as you move forward for your intention, your energy, your frequency, the vibration, all of it. So someone I want to share with you as well is Teresa, who she really needed that clarity in terms of having a visibility and PR plan. And she mentioned after we did that and she was able to really get focused in her business, that it was the first time she'd felt lit up and excited in her business in a very long time, because we got rid of the non-income generating activities that were not serving her and got her focused. And she has been on track to reach 2 million people with her channeled angelic messages. She may have surpassed this by now. I'm not quite sure where the numbers are, but she has been, you might have seen her. She has appeared on many summits in the media. She's a renowned spiritual teacher. And we're going to jump to key number 2 today is that I really want you to know you can start living this dream and this vision today. And it's because you're here to do something special that only you can do and the way you do it. And what you're here to share is critical. It's important. There are people actually out there praying for what you can bring to them. So first of all, we've got to look at what's been stopping you, right? There may be some reasons that you're playing too small. We're going to go a little deeper into this in a second. But if you're not currently where you want to be or where you know you could be, there's a couple things that might be happening. One is that you're waiting. So my message today is stop waiting, right? So I say here, the biggest rookie mistake is thinking that this work is for later or for other people. That is probably the number one biggest thing out there that I am trying to shift in the world for people when they think about their visibility and their PR, because that's what's keeping them stuck and spinning their wheels. So they're waiting. Now, the other thing that happens often is they stop. Maybe they're more in that intermediate level or advanced beginner. They've done some of this work and they say, well, I did some of that and I didn't really see a result. So my other message to you is don't stop. This is about the long game, longevity, building this into your business year round for years to come. And it's about momentum. So when better to plant a tree than today, right? Because you've got to have time to build that snowball of momentum to get to that place that you're wanting to end up. Now, 2 reasons that I find that most women who show up in my vortex, these are the 2 big things that where they're holding themselves back. Now, almost everyone, it's not knowing the steps, because why would you know the steps that I've taken 27 years to master, right? Like I probably can't do your magic in the world, right? We all have our gifts. So not knowing the steps is a big one. And then the other one is, it's usually either one or both. It can be a combo, is limited thinking or fears. So there are a lot of reasons that people stop themselves from becoming visible because they have little gremlins coming up, little thought processes that are holding them back. So this might show up as either analysis paralysis, like thinking, oh, maybe there's too many choices and I don't know which way to go, so I'm just going to wait, or I'm just not going to do anything. There's perfectionism. I'm a recovering perfectionist. Anyone else in the house recovering perfectionist or still trying to overcome? Right? We have to get things out there and not wait. That comes back to that waiting piece. I'm going to wait till it's perfect, right? No, we've got to get it out there. It's more important that it's out there. Imposter syndrome, we all know this. People like Michelle Obama talk about it in her, in her documentary. Like, from working with top celebrities, I say unknown underdogs to top celebrities. Trust me, everyone has something. And I've talked many a high profile person off the ledge because we all have our stuff come up. Every time you're putting yourself out there in a bigger way, even if you're the most confident person in the world, there's always another layer of the lotus flower that we're peeling back, and different things come up and emerge as we grow and evolve. So the other one is compare and despair, like, oh, somebody else is already doing it better than me, why would I do it? So all of these pieces really kind of show up in these ways through common fears, thoughts, and beliefs. Now, these are words from people in the community. I didn't make these up. I cut and pasted from people actually saying these were the spots where they were getting stuck. So I want you to just take a moment to really see if you identify with any of these things that maybe play out in your brain, in your mind, and in your system as you think of putting yourself out there into the world in a bigger way. If you're wanting to claim that of like what you recognize, feel free to put that in the chat. We're in a judgment-free zone. So this just means you're human. If you're having these, I admit to having many of these, and I still have them. No matter how much I put myself out there, again, there's always that next level, that next layer we're stretching into for our own personal growth. So identifying where you think you might be getting stuck on this vision. Did you just resonate with any of those things that you saw? Any of the patterns I identified of like what are the most common reasons people are getting stuck? Feel free to share that in the chat or down below, wherever you're watching. And this is a big piece of what you're going to leave with today in terms of having a breakthrough, being able to identify where you're stuck and where you're blocked. I call them your visibility blind spots. So one, we've got to overcome those. So awareness is the first piece. And someone that is a great example of this is Giovanni. Now, she's someone that when we talked about and those of you who are creatives know, like you're typically used to being on camera or in front of the camera, whether it's video or still, but being front and center on stages, but being in the media and going bigger with your visibility, putting yourself out there in that authentic, vulnerable way can be very scary for people. And so Gio actually broke out in hives. Physically, you could see the hives coming out as we talked about her doing this. So, and she shares this in her own words and her own story. You can see that video in the Facebook group if you want to go back and hear from her mouth, her own journey with it. And the amazing fact was when she committed and stepped in, everything started to shift. She raised her rates as a consultant. She was landing in major blockbusters. She was just in another one, Guardians. Is it the third one, I think, that just came out? Guardians 3 that just came out, Guardians of the Galaxy. And all the work that we did together, she now credits that with her IMDb star meter being at an all-time high because of the work that we did. So this stuff is no joke. It has tangible results for people. So you typically go through some sort of an inner shift, and then you start to see the outer results in a big way. Liz is another story I love to share because she came in as an executive director for a nonprofit thinking, I want to get visibility for the nonprofit. I want to do PR for the nonprofit. Within about a month's time of being in my vortex and ecosystem, she realized quickly, this isn't about the nonprofit. This is about me stepping into the spotlight in a bigger way and putting her gifts out to the world in a bigger way. And she realized through that, that's what was going to help put the spotlight on the nonprofit and all the women around the globe that it's helping. So she really quickly shifted all of that. She applied for a grant for female entrepreneurs. She won it. She said she never would have even applied if she hadn't been on this journey of higher visibility and putting herself out there. And she quickly also launched a whole new social impact coaching business for a whole new healthy revenue stream in her life. So it's quite amazing to see the transformations that happen when you really commit to stepping in to this journey. So the big piece to this also is knowing that you really want to leverage your wins. It's one thing to get the wins, but the other big mistake that I see people out there making is they don't leverage the PR that they've gotten. So knowing how to leverage those wins and capitalize on them is the thing that really keeps that momentum and snowball going. So, right, I say good PR is the thing that gets you known and puts you in the position to make more money, to raise your prices, all the good things. Now, I use my signature system. I have my 6 pillars to shine online. I also talk about it and break it down in this way because I think this is a lot faster and easier just to get it. The 5 P's and the big O. So we've got your path, right? You've got to identify your path, which includes the plan. You've got to have your positioning and your messaging, knowing how you fit into the marketplace. You've got to have your packaging, your materials, your collateral, like putting that positioning and messaging into the right materials for everything, your online presence, your press materials, your speaker materials, whatever it is that you need for your path. And then the presenting, where you're showing up and how you're showing up in the world where people can actually discover you. And then we really go into that next level of press power and the power of the mainstream media. And that's when you have done all of these things and you've continued to implement, then that's where you start to hit the omnipresence, right? That's where people start to say, oh, I feel like I just saw you here and there. I'm seeing you everywhere. And we know the people that we see doing that. It's because they have a PR plan. So someone like Kriya also has a fantastic story. I was honored to just see her this past weekend. She was in town and her story is so amazing. And she was here because she got flown out to do a speaking gig. And when she came to me, she really was playing small behind the scenes as a leading teen addiction prevention specialist in our nation, if not the globe, the whole world. She was only known by her maybe inner circle, her industry, her local region. Since then, she is now becoming nationally recognized. She's been invited to speak. The DEA just invited her out to speak in Vegas to 800 high school students. She's getting paid very well for these speaking gigs. I mean, even I think for 2 to 3 hours, up to like $5,000 for a gig, all expenses paid as well. So she's on her trajectory is just been amazing to watch her go through. And she had to go through the inner journey herself to really claim that this is what she wanted. And sometimes it's a little crunchy and bumpy along the way, but that's why to have someone like myself there to hold, right, that journey and that space and that container for the transformation to happen. You know, I've seen it all. I've seen it all in 27 years. So I'm very good at holding that space for people as they step into their next chapter. And so really this big key for you all today is to know that you've got to set and launch your PR plan to really monetize your magic. And there is money in your message. And going back to one of the very first slides today of you've got to have the thing that you're bringing people into once they see you. And this is all about having aligned visibility plus connection and communication. That is the thing that equals your currency and making that money. So a really quick exercise that I want to give to you is this money goal gap exercise. And this really, a lot of light bulbs go on when this happens. So based on your monthly money goal that you determined earlier of like where you really would like to be, maybe in the next 2, 3, 4 months, realistically, that feels good for your system to cover your monthly expenses and overhead, and maybe with a little extra. Now, if you multiply that by 12 months and multiply that number by 2 years, now multiply it by 5 years, 10 years, right? Think about how much it's costing you, because if you're not even close to that number you could be making, how much is it costing you not to actually be implementing what needs to be done to live your vision? So really identifying where you want to be and how far you are from that is a powerful exercise. And it's not to feel badly about yourself. It's just to have that awareness. Awareness is always the first step that's going to inspire the divine inspired action. So creating the plan is key, right? A goal without a plan is just a wish. I love this quote. And the 2 types of campaigns I help people with are evergreen and project focused. So evergreen is year round. That means you're always having something going on in your business that's keeping you visible. And then we have project focus. Like if you have a launch, and I've decided I might start calling myself the queen of PR launches because I realize that really is a thing that I have done for so many years and I'm very good at. And so you have the evergreen, but then when you have, say, a book or a show or something coming out that has a timeliness to it, a street date, that's when you amp up and do project focused PR. So the evergreen, again, that's year round, putting you out there as that expert, tying into things that are happening in the world. The project based has a specific time and date that something is happening. And that's usually from 3 to 4, even 6 months if you're really good in planning ahead. Like you are planning far in advance of that thing coming into the world to do a proper PR launch. So you might still be asking yourself, well, why do I need to focus on this now? I can just do this later. It really is the thing that's going to get you to the other side of your vision, goals, and dreams. And if you don't start now, where are you going to be in another 6 months? We're going to be having the same conversation. Now, I mentioned earlier my grandparents and my grandfather, who was a B-17 pilot in World War II. And just coming back to this idea of the passion for your purpose, that it does involve risk, right? It involves like really diving all in, putting it all on the line. I mean, he put his life on the line, as all these men did. Every time they went out, it was like 50% chance of coming back. And he survived 28 missions. He was willing to put his life on the line because of what he believed in. He wanted to help eradicate evil from the planet, people like Hitler, right, that were doing terrible things in the world. So having your passion for your purpose, leaning into it, jumping, expecting the net to appear, right, having the utmost faith that you are on the right path and that it's all unfolding as it's meant to, is paramount. So for the people in the community here that are the perfect fit for the things that I have to offer, really, if you're an established professional and you're looking for an easier way to reach people, you're tired of the social game or the Facebook ads game, and maybe you're spending a lot of time on activities that are just not even resulting in anything, those are the people that I help the most. And so now to the special give that I have for you. If you're here today, and again, this is meant for new people coming in that I haven't met with before, or non-clients, but I'd love to gift a visibility audit. And this is these have been known to be life-changing for people. I've had people come back to me 6 months later where all we did was a 20-minute call. And they told me that call, it completely sent them down a whole different trajectory in their business or their life. And they come back with these incredible stories. So, I mean, that's the best case scenario. At the very least, I can promise you we'll get you one tangible action item or shift, mindset alignment shift that's going to help you start moving that needle forward. So if you would like to connect in a deeper way with me on giving you a nudge in that right direction. I will say I've been told that's my gift, is course correction. So even just sometimes that 1 degree shift, you can end up in a whole different continent at the end of the trip. So let's get you on the right course. And yeah, so absolutely feel free to type chat in the chat ready wherever you are in the Zoom room or on Facebook or YouTube or wherever you're watching this. And the next thing I want to also make sure everyone is aware of that I still do media services that are done for you. And that's my media amplifier packages. So if you're more interested in that, go ahead and write amplify in the chat. The good news is I do have some kind of hybrid offerings right now that we've just launched. So any which way you slice it, we can connect, we can see where you're at, and if there's any fits in there for us to connect and do any work together. So if you're interested in more of the done for you, getting us placing you in the media, go ahead and write amplify. And then the last but not least, and this is some new exciting news we've recently brought into our business, is partnering with a funding company that has been a total game changer for our clients. So this is about using bridge funding to help people get into the service that they want. And this could be applicable to either my programs or media service packages. But we now, if you are a US or Canadian citizen, we can apply for funding. So go ahead, write fund in the chat if that's something that you might be interested in learning more about. Okay, wow, we just powered through a lot of content here. You're all rock stars for sticking around and sticking with us. So at this point, I will open the floor for a minute or two to see if we have any questions. Feel free to write in the chat, or you can also come off mute if you have a burning question. So I will just take a minute to let anyone here who wants to ask something go ahead and ask. I know we covered a lot of territory today, and you might have noticed I was sucking on a cough drop at the beginning. It's because I know myself. It's a lot of talking, and you can hear it starts to get to be a lot after an hour of nonstop talking. But I am still here and happy to support anyone who has any burning questions. Seems like everyone's being quiet. Anyone concerned about how some of this stuff might apply to you? If not, that's okay too. We also have our community. So again, make sure you stick around in there. Marie, if you don't mind dropping that link one final time. And we have a lot of ways you can stay in touch in there. We have posts where you can do your own promo. If you're a soul-led established woman in business and want to come out to our masterminding parties, those are curated events. But feel free, there's some posts in the group. You can check out what we're doing with that and let us know if you're interested in having an invitation, and we can talk about that as well. And I see some thank yous coming through. You are all so welcome. It's so great to see you all here today. And yeah, please stay in touch in the community. Let us know if you have questions in there, and feel free to shine your gifts in our posts that we put out for you all to engage and support each other in. And we will definitely see you in the community. It looks like everyone is good to go. You are all so welcome. Lots of thank yous coming through here. And all right, beautiful. And I see Zarina's asking a question privately here. Zarina, I'll shoot you an email after this event. All right, everyone, we're live streaming, so we're going to wrap it up and sending everyone lots of love and joy on your visibility journey. Have a beautiful day. Bye, everyone.